The man had just 97 yuan left on his card, but his girlfriend was forcing him to buy her the latest iPhone. Hearing her casually demand this 8,000 plus yuan phone for her birthday, Chen Qi felt like he was suffocating. He absent-mindedly brushed her off, his mind completely occupied by next month's credit card bill of over 5,000 yuan, let alone an 8,000 yuan new phone. He could barely even afford this 600 yuan Japanese meal right now. Seeing her boyfriend's troubled expression, Li Ting showed no understanding. Instead, she pulled a long face in disbelief.
What are you talking about? This is the first time I've asked you for a gift, and you're just turning me down?
Faced with her questioning, Chen Qi humbly explained that money was tight lately, and he could barely pay off his credit card. But all he got in return was a cold, "That's your problem." Helplessly, Chen Qi started doing the math. They went on a date once a week, and just grabbing food and a movie easily cost 1,000 bucks. These words instantly ignited Li Ting's anger. Her expression turned icy, and her tone was full of condescending mockery. Other boyfriends gave gifts worth tens of thousands, while she had never asked for anything expensive, yet he was actually complaining about her spending too much. In reality, earning a monthly salary of 8,000 yuan in a Tier 3 city, Chen Qi's financial situation was actually pretty average. But his parents had passed away early, and he only finished college relying on a meager compensation payout, plus he had to pay 1,200 a month for rent downtown. Over their 6 months of dating, he had been shouldering all the expenses of over 5,000 a month by himself, while she hadn't spent a single dime. Whenever holidays rolled around and he bought gifts worth 2,000 or 3,000, he couldn't even afford instant noodles, surviving only on plain boiled noodles every day. This kind of financially draining relationship left him breathless, and Chen Qi always felt like he was being endlessly gaslighted. Meanwhile, Li Ting sitting across from him thought this was perfectly justified, certain that this poor boy would eventually cave and give in. After a long silence, Chen Qi finally couldn't take it anymore, and wearily shattered her illusions. He looked straight into her eyes and resolutely spat out a single sentence, "Why don't we just break up?" Hearing the words break up, Li Ting let out a cold laugh, thinking it was ridiculous that he wanted to split over a phone. Chen Qi helplessly retorted that it wasn't the phone that broke him, but their completely irreconcilable views on spending. Like when he previously suggested eating at a cheap restaurant for 200 or 300, Li Ting would instantly flip out and throw a tantrum. "My meager salary really can't afford your high-end spending anymore." Completely triggered, Li Ting suddenly stood up and threw down one last humiliating insult with disdain. "Fine, let's break up. This meal is on me, and don't ever come looking for me again, you toxic loser." Scolded and left speechless, Chen Qi sat there in silence, bitterly thinking that maybe being poor was the original sin. Watching Li Ting's back as she got up to pay the bill, Chen Qi didn't chase after her. Instead, he felt a profound sense of relief. Right at that moment, a crisp ding suddenly echoed in his mind, startling him so much he violently shivered. Immediately after, a cold mechanical voice announced, "Kept man system activated." When a goddess with a charm of 90 or above, who has been in no more than 3 relationships, spends money on you, you will receive a 000x Cashback. Hearing this, Chen Qi's mind went completely blank. Did he just awaken a cheat from a web novel? But this living off a woman name was just too absurd. In their 6 months of dating, Li Ting hadn't spent a single cent on him. Before he could finish complaining, the system immediately locked onto a target, popping up his ex-girlfriend's detailed status panel. Target Li Ting. Charm, 90. Relationships, 3. Current favorability, -10. Do you wish to bind? Logically, they should never see each other again right after breaking up, but to test if this was real, he decisively muttered bind in his mind. The next second, the system directly prompted that he had received 617 kept man coins, equivalent to 6.17 million Huaxia coins. Right after, his phone suddenly buzzed with a text message, and seeing the deposit notification from Dasha Bank, his scalp instantly went numb. Tens, hundreds, thousands, millions, a full 6.17 million in cold hard cash, sitting right there in his balance. Chen Qi was so thrilled he almost fell off his stool. 617 yuan was exactly the bill for this Japanese meal. Holy crap, that 000x Cashback actually hit? Boss system, can I spend this money right away? After getting a confirmation from the system that there were no restrictions, he was on absolute cloud 9. But this system is completely backwards. Usually, guys throw money at goddesses, but here, the goddesses have to spend on the host. Chen Qi secretly calculated, if he could just find a naive, sweet girl to send him money, wouldn't he take off straight to the moon? The system immediately poured cold water on that idea. You are forbidden from asking for or hinting at money. The goddess must offer it voluntarily. To avoid getting happy over nothing, Chen Qi quickly asked this boss system to lay out all the rules at once. Besides not being able to directly transfer cash to a goddess, he could also hear the inner voice of any goddess with a charm score over 90. Once a goddess's favorability reached 100, she would wouldn't just be undyingly loyal to the host, the wealth generated would also double. He could even gain extra 10 attribute points to enhance his intelligence, stamina, agility, and other physical functions. Looking at his own stat panel, which was average in every way, Chen Qi finally realized that his comeback story had begun. Li Ting, looking thoroughly annoyed, suddenly turned around, crumpled the receipt into a ball, and threw it hard at Chen Qi. Before she could even open her mouth, a clear inner voice exploded in Chen Qi's mind.
Why is he suddenly acting so tough? Can I find another guy this handsome after the breakup? Oomph, with my looks, it'll be a piece of cake.
Thanks to the mind-reading ability the system just granted, Chen Qi confirmed this toxic gold digger only dated his poor self for his handsome face. This made him smugly brag to the system, asking if it had forcibly bound to him just because of his defying the heavens' good looks. The icy system mercilessly stabbed him in the heart. No, purely because you have the potential to be a kept man. Chen Qi tried to haggle, complaining that the 000x cashback ratio wasn't as generous as other systems that casually gave out trillions.
But the system threw a fit right on the spot. You're picky about living off women? Should I leave then?
Scared out of his wits, he quickly admitted defeat, terrified that this life-changing cheat would actually run away. After securing his cheat, he turned around and splurged, ordering a Geoda clam worth over 1,000 and an 800+ bluefin tuna belly. The exquisite, melt-in-your-mouth texture of top-tier ingredients was miles ahead of that cheap, $50 salmon. He leisurely enjoyed his feast alone, no longer needing to act like a humble simp giving the best first bite to someone else. Full and satisfied, Chen Qi marched straight upstairs to the mall's Apple store. Without even looking at the price tag, he pointed directly at the latest top-spec model worth 14,000. When the clerk suggested a trade-in, he looked down at the old phone he'd bought with money earned from college part-time jobs. Although it was slow as hell, he decided to keep the old buddy that carried so many memories of his youth. Hearing the crisp notification of 14,000 deducted from his bank card, Chen Qi felt incredibly good. If his gold digger ex-girlfriend knew about this right after leaving, she'd probably vomit blood on the spot. Looking at the massive balance of over 6 million in his account, he knew that to be a top-tier kept man, he first had to spend money to package himself.
At 8 p.m. on a summer night, the mall was bustling. Chen Qi rode the escalator all the way up to the luxury zone on the 3rd floor. The path was full of young, beautiful girls, but after a wide system scan, he didn't encounter a single top-tier beauty with charm over 90. That is, until he stopped in front of the top luxury brand Hermes, his eyes instantly drawn to a tall salesgirl inside. Half an hour ago, he would have felt too insecure and inferior to even glance at the entrance of such a money-burning pit. But now, loaded with cash, he straightened his back and swaggered in like a king inspecting his territory. Facing the salesgirl's trademark sweet smile, Chen Qi excitedly called out to the system in his mind. "Boss system, quick, test her. What's this woman's charm score?"
The system instantly displayed the panel. Zheng Fangyue, charm exactly 90, but relationship count at a high 8, and favorability a ridiculous -5. Since he could only bind a goddess with fewer than 3 past relationships, it seemed he had completely missed the chance to get rich off this Hermes salesgirl. Before Chen Qi could figure out why he was hated without doing anything, a sharp and mean inner voice transmitted directly into his brain.
A top-tier loser decked out in Anta and Li Ning. Is he here to take photos for his social media to show off because he's never seen Hermes before?
Looking at the salesgirl's standard professional smile, Chen Qi realized he could only hear their inner voice when their charm score was over 90. As a top-tier luxury brand, Hermes salesgirls made salaries that crushed ordinary office workers, which naturally bred this snobbish habit of looking down on people. Chen Qi initially wanted to drop some cash just to slap her in the face, but then he thought about it. If he actually bought something, he'd show off, sure, but he'd also be handing her a huge commission.
Paying money just to make her happy? He wasn't having it.
"Wrong store," he blurted out, and walked straight back out of the Hermes entrance.
Immediately, the salesgirl's silent curse followed him. "Dead broke loser. What a waste of my facial expressions." Chen Qi turned and walked right into the Louis Vuitton store next door.
The 2 greeters at the entrance were pretty, but neither had a charm score hitting 90.
Since they didn't meet the trigger threshold, Chen Qi couldn't hear their thoughts.
That is, until a figure organizing bags inside the store turned around. The moment he saw her face, Chen Qi froze. This salesgirl was exactly his type. She had a vibe just like Han Hyoju. She was wearing a sharp professional suit paired with black stockings. Even though only half her calves were showing, you could still tell her legs were long and shapely. The system panel popped up again. Sulu, charm score a high 93, relationship count only 2, current favorability at 0. When the system prompted him to bind or not, Chen Qi didn't hesitate for a second, screaming internally, "Bind her right now." He walked straight up to Sulu and struck up a conversation, asking if she could help him pick out some clothes. "Hello, sir. Were you looking for a suit or casual wear?"
Sulu's tone was extremely professional and gentle. This time, Chen Qi didn't hear any nasty inner thoughts. It seemed this high-scoring goddess was actually doing her job properly. Chen Qi casually mentioned he wanted to look at short-sleeved shirts first, while the two unselected salesgirls at the door started whispering. They were mocking Su Lu for taking on such a broke-looking customer, not knowing she was only doing it because the manager had chewed her out yesterday for her attitude. Meanwhile, Chen Qi picked up a t-shirt at random, but when he saw the price tag read 23,000, he sharply sucked in a breath. He couldn't help but curse internally. Was this shirt bulletproof? He was finally learning just how much money rich people actually wore on their bodies. On the surface, he calmly asked if he could try it on, but in his mind, he immediately heard Su Lu's real, snobbish inner voice. If you try this on and don't buy it, I am done serving you. Hearing this spicy mental complaint while watching Su Lu politely guide the way, Chen Qi took the clothes and headed straight for the fitting room. When he stepped out in the new outfit, Su Lu immediately put on her professional smile, gushing about how handsome he was and how he looked good in anything. But the real inner voice Chen Qi heard was, the guy is handsome enough, but he dresses like such a loser. Can he actually afford this? Immediately after, Su Lu mentally warned herself not to discriminate, since she'd just gotten yelled at by the manager yesterday. Listening to her internal struggle, Chen Qi waved his hand and declared that since the beauty said it looked good, he'd take it. He then asked Su Lu to pick out 2 more plain t-shirts. This decisive behavior instantly made Su Lu mentally shout with relief. Chen Qi quickly changed into the new black and white shirts, received more compliments, and unhesitatingly said he'd take both of those, too. Hearing Chen Qi's crisp decision, a storm of shock raged in Su Lu's heart. She was secretly terrified because these 3 shirts alone added up to 60,000. She couldn't help but wonder if she'd bumped into a legendary low-key rich kid, and her attitude instantly became even more attentive. Next, Chen Qi asked for 2 pairs of loose, breathable casual pants to match. After trying them on, he received another shower of compliments from Su Lu about his physique. After all, Chen Qi stood at 180 with a perfect build. Even when he was only making 8,000 a month, that face and body were enough to land his ex. Faced with expensive pants, one costing 38,000, the other 19,000, Chen Qi didn't even blink. He just casually tossed out, "Whatever, I'll take them all." Now Su Lu was thoroughly convinced she'd almost misjudged him, firmly believing deep down that this was a wealthy rich kid who didn't care about money. As Chen Qi continued ordering her to pick out shirts and suits, Su Lu started hustling around the shop as if she'd been injected with adrenaline. The 2 salesgirls at the door, who had been watching for entertainment, listened to this big spending dialogue and were green with envy. They looked at Su Lu's busy back with regret written all over their faces, hating themselves for not stepping up earlier and letting her pick up this huge windfall. Actually, those 2 didn't realize that even if they had thrown themselves at him, Chen Qi wouldn't have given them a second look. Because as a man with standards, he only eats soft rice from top-tier catches who score over 90 points. Back inside the store, Su Lu was thoughtfully recommending a well-tailored, natural-fit suit. Hearing the beautiful salesgirl's praise, Chen Qi waved his hand and made the call like a tycoon. If you say it looks good, then buy it. Seeing Su Lu cover her mouth with a coy smile, Chen Qi felt his heart melt and seized the chance to drop a pickup line. Using the excuse of trying on clothes, he grinned and complimented her, saying she looked exactly like the Korean superstar, Han Hyo-ju. This sudden, direct compliment made Su Lu blush and humbly deny it, instantly heating up the ambiguous atmosphere. Riding this wave of warmth, Chen Qi asked the beautiful salesgirl to pick out 4 pairs of expensive leather and casual shoes for him. As long as they were comfortable and fit well, he didn't even ask the price, just happily bought the whole lot. This spree of purchases sent the calculator in Su Lu's mind clicking loudly. The beautiful salesgirl excitedly tallied it up in her head. This massive order of 280,000 yuan would land her a 20,000 yuan commission. Having tasted blood, Su Lu completely let loose, actively and enthusiastically promoting the shop's ties and new men's bags. And the young master in front of her maintained his attitude of sparing no expense for a beauty's smile, indicating he'd take whatever the beauty picked out. This money no object posture made Su Lu start wondering to herself, is this rich kid actually here just for me? Hearing this inner voice, Chen Qi laughed to himself, thinking, I really am here just for you, high-score beauty. Within minutes, Su Lu efficiently selected several ties costing thousands and men's bags worth over 10,000 each. When Chen Qi unhesitatingly asked for the bill, Su Lu was stunned, momentarily thinking he might be joking. Facing the salesgirl's shock, Chen Qi's breezy remark, I trust a beauty's taste, maxed out his flirting stats instantly. In that split second, the crisp sound of a system notification rang out. Su Lu's favorability had increased by 5 points. Looking at this handsome and wealthy top-tier tycoon before her, Su Lu was practically blooming with joy inside. The massive surprise hit her brain hard. She internally screamed that this 310,000 yuan sales performance would get her a 15,000 yuan commission. Immersed in this dream of sudden wealth, she couldn't help but fantasize, if she could be his girlfriend, she'd wake up laughing from
her dreams. But just as the mood was perfect, Chen Qi suddenly curled his lips into a smile and dropped a bombshell.
Beauty, can you help me pick a handbag for a lady? One with a high price tag.